By our third wedding anniversary, everyone knew my husband was cheating. Everyone, that is, except for me. Others couldn't understand how he could be so cold to me, the dream girl he finally won over. After all the effort he put into pursuing me. He'd mock me, saying I was nothing but a block of wood, and once he finally got me, he realized I was completely boring. His buddies asked him, "So why don't you get a divorce?" He'd reply, "Because I want to see if this block of wood will ever catch fire. Otherwise, how dull would life be?" I was, indeed, dull. So, even the day I left was no different from any other. The exclusive members club hallway was hushed, but an improperly closed door let voices spill out from within. The laughter and playful banter grew louder, most of it complimenting Mr. Marcus. "Mr. Marcus, aren't you worried your wife will be anxious if you're out this late?" Marcus must have had too much to drink. His voice was slurred but still carried his distinctive arrogance. "She depends on me for everything." What could she possibly say? Mr. Marcus is truly impressive, managing to get Eastwood University's former goddess to willingly settle down into domestic life. My hand instinctively tightened around the ultrasound report I was holding. The paper cut into my finger, and a streak of blood stained my simple silver band. I stared blankly at the ring on my finger. It was the simple silver band he had handcrafted for me when we got married. Over the years, his finger had long since sported a diamond ring, but I stubbornly clung to mine. "That's because I love her. The cars, the house, the money, the shares," Marcus chuckled. "Even my heart belongs to her." I slightly relaxed my grip, my heart sinking in relief. He still loved me. This situation was just something he had to do. But the next moment, a group of young, beautiful, and delicate-looking women approached from the end of the hallway. "Hurry up! This is young Marcus's party. Whoever he takes home tonight will be set for life." I instinctively ducked behind a sculpture. Watching them draw closer, I felt as if struck by lightning. Among those women, I saw myself, my 18-year-old self. The moment she stepped into the private room, a gasp went through the crowd. Even stopped drinking. My heart leaped into my throat, my eyes fixed on his every move. The next second, Marcus put down his wine glass and beckoned. "Come here." My breath hitched as I watched the woman approach and settle into his embrace. "Marcus, are you still focused on Chloe tonight? So dedicated? Could it be because Chloe reminds you of Grace?" Marcus kicked the person. "How can she even compare to my wife? It's just that Grace isn't as uninhibited in bed. She's like a block of wood. So why don't you get a divorce?" "Because I want to see if this block of wood will ever catch fire. Otherwise, how dull would life be?" Watching him skillfully pull her onto his lap and drink the liquor she fed him directly from her lips, my heart utterly died. Stumbling dazed towards the stairwell, I missed a step and tumbled down. A sharp pain suddenly shot through my abdomen, and warm blood streamed down my thighs, pooling on the floor. Panicked, I called Marcus over a dozen times. He didn't answer any of them. An hour later, I was wheeled out of the operating room. He finally called back. "Wifey, did you need something?" I was in a meeting earlier and didn't see my phone. I touched my empty stomach, unable to speak. Marcus adored children, but he loved me more. After learning I could barely conceive, he even suggested adoption. The Lynn family's business was vast, and an heir was essential. But I didn't want to disappoint him, so I had been secretly taking medication. Today, I'd wanted to share my joy with him, but now he wouldn't even have the chance to know this child ever existed. Marcus asked again, and I softly replied, "It's nothing." He, who was usually so attentive to my every move, noticed nothing amiss this time. He spoke in the same coaxing tone he always used with me. "Wifey, I'll be done soon. Want me to bring you your favorite red velvet cake?" "Okay." The moment I hung up, I distinctly heard a woman's playful whine. "Marcus, you're even thinking of your wife in bed? How enviable." Marcus snapped, "She's my wife. You have no right to be jealous." After leaving the hospital, I went to a time capsule service. "Ma'am, are you sure you want this letter delivered in 5 days? No offense, but our customers usually send letters to their future selves years from now." I looked at the gift I had prepared with my own hands and nodded. "Yes. 5 days is the perfect timing. He'll love it. Thank you for your trouble." As I turned to leave, I couldn't hold back my tears. The child he wanted so badly was gone. And soon, I would be too. Marcus's car pulled into the driveway just as I arrived home. The car's headlights were so bright they made my eyes water, and tears fell unconsciously. Marcus was so anxious he jumped out before the car had fully stopped. "Wifey, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" Under the streetlights, I could see the genuine concern in his eyes. But the fresh clothes he wore and the fact that he had just showered were also undeniable. Sure enough, when he wanted to, he could do everything perfectly, leaving no trace of deceit, even when lying to me. It's all my fault. I was so caught up in the meeting. Were you already feeling unwell when you called me earlier? I'll take you to the hospital, I handed him the cold and flu tablets I was holding. I was just about to bring you your medicine. His movements faltered for a second before he nervously covered it up. You came looking for me? I hated myself for knowing exactly when he was lying. I lowered my head and bit my lip hard, not letting the tears fall. No, I didn't. I got distracted by some delicious dessert halfway there and forgot about you. He visibly relaxed. Wifey, you'll make me jealous of dessert. Marcus put his arm around me and walked me home. His arm was as warm as always. But I felt no warmth, only a chill that permeated me from the depths of my heart, making my limbs numb. Wifey, I'm hungry. Can you make me something quick to eat? He whined just like he used to. But unlike before, I didn't immediately go to cook for him. I'm a bit tired today. Let Jenkins do it. Okay, he said, sounding disappointed. Wifey, are you mad that I didn't spend time with you tonight? I know I promised this morning to come back quickly, but there was an unexpected business dinner that I couldn't turn down. He kept chattering, explaining himself as he followed me. Just like when he was pursuing me, he hated to see me upset. I promise I won't break my promise next time, okay? I pushed away Marcus, who was nudging my shoulder like a big dog. I'm not angry. It's just, I have something next week, and I can't go to Hawaii. I didn't know how to tell you. Then we'll go next time. I heard the relief in his voice. Or next time we're free, we can go to Tahiti. It's beautiful there too. You'll love it. You decide, I said, hurrying into the bathroom. Any longer, and I wouldn't have been able to hide my distress. In the quiet bathroom, my phone buzzed with notifications. I tapped on them one by one. They were all from Chloe. He just messaged me. He's going to be with me next week. Don't worry, I'll update you constantly on our sweet moments. Grace, are you happy staying with someone who doesn't love you? Wouldn't it be smarter to just give up? After backing up the messages, I blocked her. Marcus had probably forgotten that next week was our wedding anniversary, and he had once promised to book out all of Hawaii to celebrate us overcoming the 7-year itch. But 7 years was indeed too long. He had already promised to take Chloe away, and I had merely made it convenient for him. Like other women, I had fantasized countless times about how I would react if my husband cheated. Would I hysterically make a scene for everyone to know, or would I desperately beg him not to leave me? I considered many outcomes, but I never imagined I would be so calm, even actively helping him make time for his mistress. Suddenly, Marcus's voice came from the doorway. Wifey, there's an issue with the European division. I'm going to handle it. You go to sleep. Don't wait up for me. Before I could respond, his footsteps had already faded away. I quietly watched him get into his car and quickly drive off, then called my best friend. Clara, I'll go abroad with you. Last month, after her divorce, my best friend decided to develop her career abroad. But she worried her English wasn't good enough and asked me to accompany her for 6 months. I hadn't agreed, unable to let go of Marcus. My quick agreement today immediately made her realize something was wrong. Marcus did something to betray you. He cheated. That scumbag. Clara exploded. You wait, I'm going to find someone to cripple him. Clara, he's not worth us risking ourselves. I remained calm. Clara snorted. Don't worry, I won't waste my energy on a scumbag. But he won't get off easy either. Clara had her own ways of doing things, so I wasn't worried she would get hurt. More importantly now was to erase the traces of my existence over the years. Marcus and I dated for 3 years, And we're married for 7. 10 years of history took only one night to clear away. When he returned, dusty and worn out, the next morning, my belongings were almost packed. Marcus must not have slept. His eyes were dark with exhaustion. But seeing me emerge from the room, he instantly masked his fatigue. "Wifey, are you going out?" "I want to visit Professor." "Then I'll go with you. Wait for me to shower and change." He entered the bathroom without giving me a chance to refuse. I couldn't say no, so I waited in the living room. His phone on the coffee table kept flashing notifications. He had set privacy filters, so I couldn't see the specific messages. But the sender, no matter how urgent, didn't dare to call, which most likely meant it was Chloe. Marcus rushed out of the bathroom with his shirt half off. Catching my eye, he clumsily explained I still had some work to finish. I lowered my head indifferently, playing on my phone. "Hurry and change. I'm meeting Professor at 10. He turned away too quickly to notice the redness in the corners of my eyes. When did Chloe become so important to Marcus that he wouldn't even put his phone down to shower? On the way to Professor's house, his phone kept ringing. He hung up every single call. For some reason, I thought of the night I couldn't reach him, and my heart ached. "Answer it." He silenced his phone. "My assistant will handle it." He said this, but the accelerating speed of his car betrayed his anxiety. This anxiety reached its peak at Professor's doorstep. He must have seen something on his phone, his face instantly filled with worry. He even spoke to me faster. "Wifey, he struggled to speak. "There's an urgent company matter." "I'm sorry. It's fine." I was understanding. "It's a critical situation. Don't make them wait." He left without a second of hesitation. Professor saw everything through the peephole. Grace, how could he cheat? I thought others might cheat, but he was different. He spent so much time and effort pursuing you back then. How could he cheat? Who could argue with that? Marcus used to wait downstairs for me all night just to say good morning. He challenged his fear of skydiving, just to confess his love to me in the sky. He even bought me a star, saying, "I hope whenever you look up at the stars, you'll think of me." Just like that star, my love for you will never fade. But stars are only traces left from billions of years ago in the universe. They are long gone. When I left Professor's house, I saw Chloe's Instagram story. "Love means bearing his child for the man you love." The post included a picture of an ultrasound report confirming 7 weeks of pregnancy and a photo of her leaning into a man's arms. I recognized Marcus at a glance, because that tie was the anniversary gift I had given him last year. I commented, "Congratulations." The next day, Marcus told me he was going on a business trip. His return date was uncertain. I said nothing, nor did I ask where he was going, as I used to, because half an hour earlier, Chloe had posted on Instagram. "My husband booked the best sanatorium for me to carry our baby, and he promised to stay with me. I love him." Actually, it was better that he wasn't there, otherwise, I'd have to worry about him discovering my packing. But I never expected to see him at the hospital the day before I left. That day, I was there to ask if a recent termination of pregnancy would affect long-haul travel. After leaving the consulting room, I bumped into Marcus around a corner. He froze when he saw me. His surprise lasted less than a second before giving way to worry. He strode to my side. "Wifey, are you not feeling well?" I said nothing, my gaze drifting past him to the hospital ward behind him. He gripped my hand tightly, turning me to block my view, and scrutinized me from head to toe. "Wifey, are you not feeling well?" Marcus was truly anxious. He tried to snatch the medical records from my hand. I evaded his grasp. "These are Clara's. She'll kill me if you look at her records." His expression visibly relaxed upon hearing that. My heart ached. How could he be so affectionate towards me while also accompanying his mistress during her pregnancy? I studied him carefully. 10 years, and I still hadn't truly seen him. Did this man genuinely love me, or was it all an act? I couldn't tell at all. "It's good that you're not sick, otherwise I'd be heartbroken." He tried to hug me, but I dodged him. "Weren't you on a business trip? Why are you at the hospital?" He stiffened, forcing a smile. A client wasn't feeling well, so I came to check on them. Wifey, if you're tired, I'll make dinner tonight. He completely ignored the sign for the obstetrics and gynecology department behind him, just as I pretended to forget I had just come from there myself. That evening, he actually came home. He looked around the suddenly much emptier room, slightly puzzled. Wifey, where did everything go? Decluttering. I sat at the dining table, quietly eating dinner. He sat beside me and kissed me. Do you want to buy new things then? I'll go with you tomorrow. No need. I swallowed a mouthful of rice, my expression normal. I don't plan to buy new junk for now. That night, I claimed to have insomnia and sent him to the home office. In the past, when I was in a bad mood, I'd also send him away, but he'd always whine and beg for my forgiveness. Wifey, I can't sleep without you. Can you bear it? I know I was wrong. I'll make you a grand dinner tomorrow to make it up to you, okay? Even if I didn't forgive him that day, he would always sneak into the room in the middle of the night and hold me while I slept. I used to think this was a symbol of our love. But now I realized it was nothing but his facade. Yet tonight, he didn't even put on an act. I stayed awake all night in the room, but he never came to check on me. On the day I left, I woke up as usual. He had also prepared my favorite breakfast, waiting for me. Seeing how much weight I had lost, a hint of guilt flickered in his eyes. Wifey, I've been too busy lately, I'm sorry. Once I'm done with work, I'll spend quality time with you. We have a lifetime ahead of us to be together. My eyes warmed. Marcus, that's your lifetime, not mine. You should go to work. Then, wifey, will you wait for me for dinner tonight? I didn't answer that question, instead calling his name very formally. Marcus, I've prepared a gift for you. His eyes lit up. What kind of gift? I tried to sound casual. It won't be a surprise if I tell you now. The delivery will arrive this afternoon, but you have to promise me to wait until tonight to open it. He hugged me. Okay, whatever wifey says. After left, I packed my final personal belongings and headed to the airport. The security guard at the community gate greeted me as usual. Mrs. Marcus, going to the gym? Yes. Then come back early. The weather forecast says it's going to rain today. I smiled, and as I walked away, I didn't look back. I wouldn't be coming back ever again. While waiting in line for check-in, my phone suddenly rang. Marcus sounded excited when I answered. Wifey, I got your gift. You sent it through a time capsule service? When did you send it? Did you send it 5 years ago when we traveled together? I interrupted his excitement. Just consider it our wedding anniversary gift. He paused, his breathing shallow. What did you get me? I handed my boarding pass to the flight attendant and walked leisurely inside. It's something you've always wanted but never dared to ask me for. Open it at 8 tonight. I'll do whatever wifey says. Dear passengers, the sudden announcement cut Marcus's syrupy words short. Wifey, where are you? I settled into my seat and let the flight attendant store my luggage. I'm watching TV. The male lead cheats with his mistress. The female lead leaves the country in anger, and the male lead still thinks he's hidden it perfectly. Isn't it just like a ridiculous soap opera? Marcus managed a strained smile. Since when do you watch soap operas? Life is much more dramatic than this. Watching the plane slowly taxi down the runway, a sudden, empty feeling of weightlessness swept over me. It was as if something had completely left me. But I also felt a rare sense of ease. The things that bound me, including the title of Mrs. Marcus, were gone. From now on, I was just Grace. Marcus irritably kicked the coffee table, staring at the disconnected call. The hospital exterior was bustling with people, a cacophony of noise. Yet, he felt an inexplicable, wind-like silence engulf him. Honey, a pair of snake-like arms wrapped around his slender waist. The doctor said I'm pregnant. You shouldn't smoke. Marcus impatiently shook her off. Being pregnant isn't a get-out-of-jail-free card. Don't make me upset. He coldly stared at Chloe's stomach. I only have one wife, understood? If you call me that again, you'll find out the consequences. Yes, Marcus. Once the child is born, I'll give you enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. After that, I never want to see you again. Marcus, Chloe said cautiously. Marcus already knew what she was going to say and silenced her with a single look. Looking at Chloe's aggrieved expression, Marcus inexplicably thought of Grace. His heart raced even faster. He immediately stood up and walked out. A nurse will take care of you. Don't call me unless it's urgent. Aren't you coming to see me? Marcus responded with annoyance. You're useless right now. I'll just find someone else. He walked too fast to notice Chloe's expression behind him was not right. Even after opening his front door, his heart hadn't returned to normal. Wifey, I'm home. He casually tossed the delivery package onto the table and began searching for me everywhere. But the empty house held no one. His steps quickened, and he searched the entire house but couldn't find me. He completely panicked. The number you have dialed is currently switched off. Marcus's hands and feet went cold. His blood practically congealed. His gaze unconsciously fell on the package he had just brought home. With trembling hands, he opened the box. The first thing he saw was a divorce agreement. Impossible! He furiously tore up the agreement, intending to throw it in the trash, but then he suddenly stopped. Beneath the agreement lay the handwritten marriage vows he had once meticulously crafted. He had spent 3 days writing it, then clumsily learned how to embroider it himself. He had said that the vows represented his eternal love. But his love hadn't even lasted 10 years. Marcus frantically started calling, but none of the people I knew had any idea of my whereabouts. Grace, he collapsed onto the cold floor, tears streaming down his face without him realizing. Grace never looked back. Why had he forgotten that? Ever since I was little, my parents used to say I was stubborn, that once I made up my mind, nothing could change it. But there was one time I abandoned my principles for Marcus. Marcus and I met in college. He fell in love with me at first sight. He pursued me for a full 3 years. In our senior year, facing graduation, I finally relented. He was so happy he went drinking with his friends to celebrate, but after getting drunk, he mistook another woman for me. Though he only held her hand, it still disgusted me. Our relationship, barely 24 hours old, faced a breakup, and he was devastated. For 3 months after the breakup, he was in a daze, feeling like his world had collapsed. In his deepest despair, he used all his connections to plead his case. Even my parents sided with him. At that time, watching him kneel before me, promising never to drink again, I agreed to give him another chance. One chance exchanged for 10 years of my youth. Marcus didn't know how long he sat on the floor until night engulfed him, before he finally came to his senses. He called his assistant to track my whereabouts. He himself went into his home office. She won't know. No one would dare to talk nonsense in front of Grace. He kept reassuring himself, but his hand trembled as he logged into my cloud storage. All self-deception vanished as he read the WeChat chat logs. From the very first day he was with Chloe, I knew. I not only knew when he met Chloe, but also every single hotel record of theirs. Chloe would send me photos every time he fell asleep. She shared every detail of their positions and times with me. This was the second gift I left for him. He had the right to see clearly the person he had chosen. Violent rage filled his mind. He sped to the hospital where Chloe was recovering, running countless red lights along the way. Chloe looked at him, startled, as he suddenly appeared. Marcus? You said you weren't. Ah. Marcus slapped her across the face, and Chloe's face instantly swelled up. Marcus? Marcus smashed his phone into her face, watching her nose bleed onto the floor, his eyes icy and devoid of emotion. What the hell did you say to my wife? How dare you? Chloe looked at the familiar conversation on the phone, and panic almost engulfed her. Ignoring her injuries, she crawled to Marcus's feet and hugged his leg. Marcus, please listen to me. I just didn't want to lose you. I just love you too much. Marcus violently kicked her away, looking at her as if she were a dead person. You don't deserve to like me. He kicked Chloe's stomach without warning, stomping down hard. Ah! Chloe convulsed, blood flowing uncontrollably onto the floor. She kept shrinking back, but she couldn't escape Marcus's kicks and punches. He vented all his anger, reaching out to grip her neck, tightening his hold. I told you, no one is allowed to ruin my marriage. You're asking for death. His face was twisted, appearing like a grim reaper in Chloe's eyes. Please, don't kill me. I know I was wrong. Please, I beg you. Please forgive me for the baby's sake, okay? A shrill phone ringing interrupted Marcus's continued assault. Mr. Marcus, your wife is in America. She just landed. Marcus immediately threw Chloe aside and called me. Hello? A heavy panting answered me. After a long moment, Marcus spoke softly. Wifey, where did you go? Are you abandoning me? I murmured, it's too dirty. I don't want it anymore. Wifey, I know I wronged you. Don't worry, I'll take care of her. He put the phone on speaker and pulled out the medicine he had just bought, forcing it into Chloe's mouth. Chloe, you made my wife unhappy. This is your own doing. If she doesn't forgive me, not only your child, but you won't live either. Chloe couldn't break free from his grasp, lying desperately in the pool of blood. Mrs. Marcus, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me, okay? Listening to the pleas for help on the other end of the line, a wave of desolation washed over me. When did Marcus become so utterly disregardful of human life? It has nothing to do with me. I'm not coming back. Marcus, let's get a divorce. After hanging up, I pulled out my SIM card and threw it in the trash, completely severing any possibility of him finding me. My best friend and I had just landed in America, and she had already arranged everything. To catch the year-end promotional period, we worked nonstop every day, with no time for melancholy. She was in charge of new product planning, and I was in charge of execution. For the first few days, I was unaccustomed to such a fast-paced life. Because after graduating from college, he had kept me like a kept woman, solely responsible for enjoying myself, with no other worries. This once made me believe that married life was just this calm and happy. Only after stepping out did I realize the world outside was much broader. It wasn't as safe as the cage he had designed for me, but it had its own unique charm. After surviving the first 2 weeks, I felt reborn. I had almost forgotten I was Grace. Although I had cut off most ties with home, news of Marcus still reached me intermittently. In the 2 weeks after I left, he went mad. Every day, he wandered through places I might appear, using all his connections to check my immigration records. He even went to Professor's house. But Eleanor merely stood at the door and told him never to come again. Marcus, I once thought you were the most suitable for Grace, and the one person who would never betray her. I was wrong. I truly regret speaking up for you back then and making her forgive you that first time. One day, while walking down the street in a daze, he was hit by a car. Lying on the ground, waiting for the ambulance, he dialed the number that no one ever answered anymore. Wifey, I'm hurt. Please come back. 3 months later, our latest innovative global fashion show was a resounding success. Among a host of Western aesthetics, our innovative global fashion prevailed. At the celebration party, everyone danced happily, and I couldn't resist having a few extra drinks. The party went on late into the night. The stuffy air made me feel suffocated, so I told my best friend I was going out for some fresh air. I bumped right into Marcus. After almost half a year, he was a completely changed man. Skeletal would not be an exaggeration. Seeing me in an evening gown, his eyes lit up for a moment, then, realizing his own disheveled appearance, he instinctively recoiled half a step. He hid himself in the shadows, full of self-consciousness. Wifey, I coldly interrupted him. Are you here to deliver the divorce agreement? No! His voice suddenly grew louder, his face contorted. I will not divorce you. Wifey, I love you. I was with Chloe only because of the child. You know my parents always wanted me to raise an heir. I originally planned to get rid of her after she gave birth. I couldn't help but frown. Are you out of your mind? You want me to raise a child you had with another woman? He looked at me in agony. I didn't want to, but I had no choice. Slap! Clara emerged from the hall and, without a word, slapped him across the face. You have the nerve to come looking for Grace? You want her to raise your child? Is your brain in your ass? She had always been feisty, so when she discovered her ex-husband cheating, she directly beat him until he was disabled. Though it cost her half her fortune to settle with her ex, she felt it was worth it. So, before Marcus could react, She pushed him to the ground and beat him until her hands were red. But even after all that, he still refused to divorce. Wifey, as long as we don't divorce, you can have anything you want. Marcus, after 2 years of separation, a divorce becomes automatic. I pulled Clara back inside. Don't come looking for me these 2 years. Marcus ran a few steps to block my path. His eyes were fixed on me, filled with deep affection and utter despair. What if I inflict the pain I caused you onto myself? Before I could understand what he meant, he suddenly pulled out a knife from his jacket and plunged it into his thigh. When he pulled it out, blood splattered onto me. People around us screamed and called the police. But he seemed to feel no pain as he stabbed himself in the thigh again. Is that enough? He had truly lost his mind. As the police led him away, his eyes remained fixed on me. Wifey, I won't give up. You can only be my wife. I couldn't help but shiver. The family's influence was even greater than I had imagined. The next morning, as I prepared to go to the studio, I saw him waiting for me downstairs. His body was covered in snowflakes. He had clearly been standing there all night. Seeing me appear, he excitedly walked forward, but his legs gave out and he fell onto the snow. He ignored his scraped palms, hastily checking the breakfast he had prepared for me. Good, it's fine. Wifey, these are your favorite croissants. He carefully offered the bread to me, his fingers trembling slightly. Do you want them? I didn't take them. Why do you think I would forgive you? I didn't understand his current actions. He knew I couldn't tolerate betrayal. Why was he doing something so pointless? Marcus ignored my question. You don't sleep well, so I didn't buy you coffee. But this specialty herbal tea blend is from a specialty tea farm in the Pacific. It tastes good and is good for your stomach. It's very cold today. I brought you a portable hand warmer. Marcus, I interrupted him. Do you know what it feels like to have an abortion? He froze. The doctor makes the patient lie on the operating table, uses instruments inserted into the uterus to break apart the already formed fetus, and then extracts it. When the blood flows out, you can still see fragments of the baby. I vaguely recalled the day of the procedure. Although I had anesthesia, I could still feel the cold instruments entering my body, taking away the last warmth within me. It doesn't hurt with anesthesia, but that feeling is unforgettable for a lifetime. Marcus's hand clenched abruptly, crumpling the paper bag he held. She doesn't deserve to carry my child. She doesn't deserve it. Marcus repeated again, Wifey, I've already told my parents that it will just be the two of us from now on. If we don't have children, then we don't. I only want you, not children. I suddenly understood. Did you not read the divorce agreement? He shook his head. I wouldn't sign it, so I tore it up long ago. You should have read it. I had the security guard escort him away. There were other things inside. Marcus watched me leave, then tossed what he was holding and called his assistant. Go to my house and find the divorce papers I tore up back then. Grace said there was something else in them. Half an hour later, the assistant called him back. The assistant's voice was trembling, almost incoherent. Mr. Marcus, there was a hospital notice slipped inside the divorce papers. Marcus's face stiffened. What kind of notice? Only after speaking did he realize his voice was hoarse, almost to the point of being unintelligible. A procedure consent form for termination of pregnancy with Mrs. Marcus's signature on it. When? Marcus could barely feel the blood in his veins. He stopped dead in the middle of the road. He was almost hit by a car. Oblivious, he told his assistant to find out when I had the procedure. The day you and Ms. Chloe were at the exclusive members club, Mrs. Marcus was outside. The assistant sighed. I checked the surveillance footage from that time. Not long after Ms. Chloe entered the private room, Mrs. Marcus missed a step going downstairs. When she was taken to the hospital, she was covered in blood. Marcus's hand went limp, and his phone shattered on the ground. After that day, Marcus kept showing up in front of me. He didn't come close, just stayed a short distance away. But at a fixed time every day, he would send me messages. Wife, 10 years ago today, we went to the movies for the first time, and you cried. Wife, this was our second date. It was the first time I brought you a cake. I spent 3 months learning to bake it, but it broke before we even got to eat it. Wife, I miss you. I only replied with one message: Marcus, I'm not a recycling bin. If you appear in front of me again, I will disappear completely. For the next 3 days, he seemed to vanish. But arrived. She was wearing a large mask and hat, with hardly any skin exposed. She was huddled at my studio door, and when she saw me, she knelt down directly. Mrs. Marcus, I'm not here to challenge you. Her eyes were bloodshot, and even through her thick clothes, it was clear she had become skin and bones. I just want to beg you to forgive Marcus. After you left, he went crazy. Chloe unzipped her clothing, revealing various scars on her body. He thought everything was my fault, so he not only made me lose my child, but he also had a doctor remove my uterus. But that wasn't enough. He had me locked up, slashed my face, and removed anything on my body that resembled you. Chloe's hand trembled as she removed her mask. A deep scar stretched from her left eye all the way to her chin. The dense stitches made it look as if centipedes were crawling on her face. I instinctively recoiled, staring at her in disbelief. Why didn't you call the police? Chloe gave a wretched smile, making her face even more distorted. My parents are in his hands, I have no choice. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not a saint. I couldn't bring myself to forgive her. Chloe lunged forward and grabbed my leg. Mrs. Marcus, I'm begging you. Saving a life is a noble deed. Please, help me, okay? I truly have no other choice. If this continues, I'll die. My parents will die too. I violently broke free from her grasp. Call the police. Chloe tried to lunge at me again but was stopped by Marcus. He kicked Chloe in the midsection. Who gave you the nerve to come to her? You have a death wish. Marcus had been ignored by me for so many days that his emotions were ready to explode at the slightest provocation. Now that he had a punching bag, he let it all out. He punched Chloe repeatedly. You're not even fit to be her stand-in, yet you dare show your face to her. Chloe was beaten until she was covered in blood. She looked at Marcus as if he were a madman. Of course, I know I'm nothing. After all, even when you were with me, you called out her name. If she hadn't been unable to have children, I never would have been in your bed. But the most disgusting thing about you is that you purely treat women as breeding machines. Do you have a throne to inherit or something? You'll get your karma, you'll never have children of your own in this life. She threw caution to the wind, cursing him with the most offensive words she could think of. Because you don't deserve them. I couldn't pull Marcus away, and I didn't want to touch him, so I just called the police. After being arrested twice within half a month, Marcus was deported. Chloe was deported along with him. He didn't believe in karma, thinking he had only strayed momentarily and that I shouldn't be so resolute with him. So he still sent me messages every now and then. I changed my cell phone number several times, but he still managed to find my contact information. Eventually, I simply gave up. This year, Clara's and my studio flourished. After connecting with Hollywood celebrities, our fanbase grew exponentially. At the latest fashion show, Clara introduced her design concept. The camera panned to me in the audience, and I caught everyone's eye. Without harassment for the past 6 months, I was radiant. I looked several years younger than I did when I was married. Marcus watched me on TV, his eyes bloodshot. He turned to Chloe, who was beside him, his expression suddenly harsh. It's all your fault. Without you, she would have come back. Chloe had been tortured by him for half a year, a mere shadow of her former self. Hearing this, she burst into maniacal laughter. Marcus, give up. She stopped loving you long ago. Someone as pure as Grace would never forgive those who betray her. And you're no exception. Marcus's blows became even heavier. Take her to the next room. Today, get some new people in to entertain themselves with her. Chloe's expression twisted instantly. Marcus, you're not human. Marcus sneered, she's already for sale. What difference does it make who she's sold to? Do you really think you have the right to choose your customers? The assistant dragged her to the next room, and soon Chloe's screams echoed out. Marcus sat by the door, listening. For the past year, he had watched Chloe suffer every day, and he hadn't spared himself either. With each passing day, another scar appeared on his body. It was his form of self-punishment. An hour later, several men emerged from the room, walking cautiously past him without making a sound. Marcus, now with a new scar, entered the room. A foul odor permeated the air, and Chloe lay on the bed with only a bath towel draped over her, barely covering her intimate areas. Chloe, I told you that you would pay for your provocations against Grace. He sat on the edge of the bed, whispering like a demon. You sent her over 1,000 messages, and only 200+ days have passed. There's still a long way to go. His words abruptly stopped as he looked down at the dagger in his chest. Chloe, with her last ounce of strength, pulled the knife out and plunged it back into his chest. Marcus, you were rotten long ago. Even if I go to hell, you won't be going to heaven. Chloe watched him take his last breath in front of her, then pulled out his phone to turn herself in. When showed me these messages, she was very emotional. Such a proud man, to die in such a wretched way. TSK, TSK. Karma. I nodded vaguely. Shall we go to the Alps next month? The time originally set aside for returning home for the divorce was now free, so we could finally go to Switzerland, which I had always dreamed of. Divorce became widowhood. Quite convenient. As I walked out of the building, the sunlight outside was warm. The last cold corner of my heart finally warmed up. This story has concluded. Thank you for reading. Faced with such circumstances, would you choose forgiveness or retaliation? Tell me your answer in the comments. Backhand index pointing down, subscribe to the channel, and we'll continue in the next installment.